We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Brenda Stanek. I'm the marketing coordinator here for Sodexo, which is dining services, everything food related on campus, including Starbucks and catering. For my session, I like to do a video that will give you a quick synopsis of where all the locations are, and then also a few details. We have a couple things on your chair. If you want to go ahead and pick them up. Anything related to dietary items will be on one side of the flyer, and on the other side you can follow along with the meal plans explanation. We also have a thing for the parents here, which we'll go over in the video. And then if you're really paying attention, fill out these cards, and it's a quiz, and you can bring it to our table tomorrow and receive a tumbler for your student. So be paying attention. If not, no big deal. Come and talk to us anyways. We'll probably be nice enough. So I'll go ahead and get started with the video. Leave all questions until then, and we'll get started. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to Creighton University. My name is Megan Torbert, and I'm the marketing intern here for Sodexo Quality of Life Services at Creighton. Today, I will be giving you a tour of Creighton as well as the meal plan options and the dining program that we have here on campus. So first thing first, we will need our Creighton student ID card. This has everything meal plan on it that you need, including your meal swipes, your dining dollars, as well as your 5 guest passes per semester. Your meal swipes do not roll over every week, so every Sunday they start out with how many meal swipes you have per week. Dining dollars are similar in that they do not roll over at the end of each semester. It is a set amount per semester, meaning you cannot add on more and then you cannot roll it over. So make sure to spend those wisely. Talking about the different meal plans options that we have, our first one is the all access, meaning you get unlimited swipes every week, as well as 150 dining dollars to use for the semester. We also have 15 meal swipes per week, so you have 15 meal swipes as well as 360 dining dollars to use per semester at all of our retail locations. In addition to this, we have the 12 meal swipes per week with 460 dining dollars, and the 9 meal swipes per week with 550 dining dollars to use at our retail locations. For freshmen, we recommend either the 12 or the 15 meal swipes based off of what their needs are. This is their first time away from home, so they might need more help having a home-cooked meal or something to make sure they get all the nutrients that they need every day. Now with that, let's get started on our tour. Welcome to the SCOT Student Center. Here we have a large variety of different dining options, including to our left, we've got Jack and Ned's Marketplace. This is our modern take on a traditional convenience store. A Jack and Ned's is your one-stop shop for everything that you need, from toiletries to beverages to all-natural snacks. Jack and Ned's is one of our retail locations here, so that means you'll be spending your dining dollars at this location. Behind me, we've got Ware and Court with another variety of food options here, including sandwich or soup from Burger and Gerber's, Chinese from Maple, pizza from Grandfather's, homemade mac and cheese or burritos from Corner Market or Sombreros. This is another location where you'll be spending your dining dollars. And to my right is our fully licensed Starbucks. This has everything that any regular Starbucks would have, including coffee and frappuccinos, as well as a variety of food, pastries, and merchandise. Starbucks is another location where you'll be spending your dining dollars. Well, that's it for SCOT, so let's keep moving. That serves breakfast and is open on the weekends. This is one of the locations where you will use your meal swipes here. We'd love to show you inside, but right now it's going through a bit of a remodel. Brightness closed back in March and is expected to open back up in August of 2018. This will make it the largest dining hall as well, to seat about 600 people. This remodel will add a variety of dining options, including more options of vegan and vegetarian, as well as our homemade pasta and pizza at the new bistro station, as well as our in-house open concept bakery. One of the most exciting new features that this remodel will have is our allergen-free station called the Simple Servings. This will be free of all milk, eggs, wheat, soy, shellfish, peanuts, tree nuts, and gluten at this station. Also available in the Brandeis building is our standalone Simply To Go room. This is a great option for students on the go. From here, you'll choose one from each of the following categories: a large selection of hot or cold entrees, a side item, beverage, and a treat. From here, you'll pack all those up in a to-go bag and take them with you to class or back to the dorm room. This is also another location where you will use your meal swipes. That's it for Brandeis. Let's keep going on to the next location. Follow me! Locations. It's located on the lower level of McGloin Residence Hall and is considered one of Creighton's best kept secrets. Here the menu features a large selection of salads, sandwiches and wraps, and delicious made-to-order smoothies. Java J also has open mic night where you can perform your musical talents, perform comedy bits, and anything else you guys can think of. This is the only place on campus to get a hot meal after 8 p.m. The late night menu features cookies and milk, Taco Tuesday, and Wing Wednesday, just to name a few. This is another one of our retail locations, so you can spend your dining dollars here. That's it for Java J, so let's move on to our next location. College of Business, though most students here call it the Harper Center. This building has our last two dining locations. Behind me is Bruget. This is a little cafe and convenience store, the perfect stop for something quick. Bruget features homemade soups, yummy sandwiches, and some healthy snacks. Bruget also has an assortment of breakfast options as well as Espresso Fair Trade coffee. Bruget is one of our retail locations, so you'll spend your dining dollars here. Now let's go downstairs for our last location of the tour. Welcome to the Harper Dining Hall. This is the last location of our tour. Harper is known for its mindful menu made up of entrees that have 600 calories or less. We like Harper especially because it has a wide variety of proteins, and because of this, a lot of our athletes like to come here for lunch or dinner before or after their workouts. Since this is a dining hall, you will use your meal swipes here. Well, that concludes the tour of our dining facilities on campus. We do have a few other important pieces of information for you before we go. Are dietary restrictions or food allergies still of concern to you? Feel free to contact our executive chef, Richard Miller, with any questions you may need answered. He can create a specialized program that will accommodate your needs and show you a step-by-step of where you can eat on campus so you never feel like your needs aren't being met. If you're ever wondering what's on the menu in the dining halls, be sure to download our app called Bite by Sodexo. Not only can you plan ahead by seeing what's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but you can check out all of the nutritional information for each dish. Extra bonus, if you have a Fitbit, make sure to connect that to the Bite by Sodexo app to keep track of your food intake. Do you use the app MyFitnessPal also? At every station in the dining halls, you'll see a barcode on the menu. You can track your food intake by scanning those barcodes for nutritional information. MyFitnessPal has thousands of Sodexo recipes for your convenience. Are you looking to get involved on campus? Once a month, we'll be partnering with Creighton University organizations to host a Student Culinary Council meeting. The Student Culinary Council is where representatives from on-campus organizations can voice their likes, dislikes, and improvements to the Sodexo management team. Parents, this one's for you. We have the perfect way to surprise your student with a variety of delicious homemade treats. Whether they're celebrating their first birthday away from home or just aced a big exam, we have goodies that will make their day. To order, all you have to do is visit our website, creighton.sodexomyway.com, and click the Shop Now tab. All orders are delivered to the front desk of your student's dorm in a convenient reusable tote bag. If you're looking for a job on campus, we'd love for you to join our team. Contact our Human Resources Manager, Ruben Castillo, or visit www.sodexousa.jobs to complete an application. A few of the perks by being a Sodexo student employee include flexible hours, competitive wages, convenience of working on campus so you're never too far from your dorm, and advancement opportunities. There are many part-time positions available, including marketing internships. We know this is a lot of information, so please don't hesitate to contact us via email, dining@creighton.edu. Thank you. Hi, I'm Megan, and you're watching Disney Channel. Haha. Why on the set? Hey, I need you to focus over here. It's really hot. Little. Oh, is there a break?
Like an entire blue program.
Take me seriously. Okay. I stand for tacos. Oh, can we go into the sprinkler? Mom! I'm not meant for Hollywood. Oh, you're good. Just practicing. Welcome to our camera.
This is why I don't have friends.
Stupid is stupid!
It's like I'm right next to the camera.
Hi. Daddy? Okay. Okay. The coffee just hit me. Are you a Paco's Pac? You a Pac of all in the bag! It is. It's your best friend Megan. But wait! There's more information before you go. I hate myself. Okay. This is why I only dance. Crusty.
As you can see, we have a lot of fun in our dining program. Sorry, it was a fly. So we like to carry that environment and that kind of thought process to our students in the dining halls. We want to make sure that they're having a lot of fun everywhere they eat. So what we like to do is we bring in pop-up restaurants. We also do costume parties, anything that's themed that has to go along with the meal plans. Yes, sir.
Okay, so when I look at these, first of all, you only have 2 venues that take the swipes, right?
3 technically, but yes.
So what's the third one?
The Simply to Go room. So that would be the room that you could take basically what you could get in the dining hall to go with you.
Right, okay. So when we look at this, is it better to weight the dining dollars, or maybe you can give us a sense of how far 550, 460, or 360 dining dollars go?
Yep.
In terms of the number of meals, and like just sort of lay it out for us for a
Yeah.
typical guy or typical gal,
Yeah.
what they would be doing.
So with each meal plan, as you can see here, there's a 15, a 12, and a 9. So those are the swipes that you get per week. So if you're thinking of getting the 15, that's basically your breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 5 days. Now let's say your student did not get up in time for the hot breakfast between 7 and 10 o'clock in the morning to go down from their dorm to the dining hall to eat with everybody else. If they miss that, they can move one of their meal swipes to the weekend, in which case we have brunch and dinner available for them. And then that's how they can allocate. So they can use their swipes basically however they would like, but it's just one meal swipe per meal period, which is like an 11 to 2 for lunch or a 4:30 to 8 for dinner throughout the week.
But they don't carry over to the next one?
No, they don't. So they go from Sunday through Saturday.
Okay.
So that basically gives them all their meals for during the week. And then what we give them also to supplement is their, which doesn't say there, but dining dollars. So dining dollars are used for retail. So it's all tax-free sales. Everything that they purchase in our retail locations, tax-free. So if they decide to go to Starbucks and get their $6 latte, if they are Starbucks drinkers, once a day, I would calculate that and think about how much your student will be spending just on Starbucks alone. Now, if they're not that kind of student and they're like a bottled water with a granola bar type breakfast eater, then you would want to get less meal swipes in the dining hall and more money for them to spend for those things.
So what is like a, you have these other nice little venues for the dining dollars. So
Yeah.
what would a typical lunch or dinner or
Mhm.
late night, what would that cost?
Yeah, so if they wanted to eat, let's just say for instance at Java J, if they wanted to get a sandwich to go or to stay with a drink, that typically costs anywhere from $8 to $10 depending on what they get. So if they instead wanted to get a all you care to eat as long as they want to stay meal swipe usage, that for lunch would be $8.25 for them.
Okay.
So they're pretty competitive with regular retail prices. So Starbucks is all the same price. Java J is pretty competitive with any other cafe sort of restaurant that you could be, like maybe Panera, I would say. And then Brew J would probably be about the same. And then Main Bowl would be comparable to like a Panda Express. So, and then we have Godfather's Pizza, which are the mini pizzas, and those are $4.99 a piece. So you get a mini pizza for $4.99. Yes.
So if you run out of swipes,
Mm-hmm.
can you pay as you go with a debit or credit card?
You can pay cash credit anything you want in the dining hall. So if your student didn't want to use their dining dollars, they don't have to. They can use another form of payment, or they could also use their J-Bucks. But it always goes first on their card to be dining dollars to be used first, then J-Bucks.
Hello, my name is Brenda Hovden, and I'm the Director of Card Services. I'm also the Director of the Mail Center and Central Receiving. So we saw about 105 of your students this morning when they arrived, which means I've got about 60-some to go, 70-some. So one of the things on your chairs is a little reminder. If you connect with your student, one of the things I want you to ask is, did you get your picture taken for your student ID card? They may have come down the steps and taken a look at the line and decided that that wasn't for them. But standing in line with about 100 of your newest friends is a piece of cake compared to Welcome Week. During Welcome Week, we will card over 2,000 students, and so they don't want to stand in line with 2,000. So please touch base with your student, and if this is one of the things they can check off their list prior to leaving, that would be great. What we're going to do is we're going to ask them which background they would like their card printed on. We have 2 backgrounds for them to choose between, and we print them a lovely card. It basically has the same information on it that is on this card. This is our parent connection card, and we just print it first of all to make sure that everything is current and correct, but then what's on the back is a whole series of phone numbers, and it's on a nice sturdy medium so that you can stick this in your wallet and it will be wherever you need it to be when you need it. We print at least 1 for every student. You can have as many of these as you would like. So if we asked your student, they told us 2, we printed 2. Some of them even asked for 3. They must have a grandparent or maybe a godparent or an aunt or uncle that they're going to slip one in their wallet too. But you can have as many of these. So as time goes on, if you get them through their sophomore, junior years and you need more of these, just give us a buzz, let us know you need them, and we'll be happy to print them and send them to you. The ID card, think of it like the hammer in your toolbox. Sometimes you go to your toolbox and you grab your hammer and maybe you're going to work on that squeaky step in the basement. Maybe the garage door needs a little bit of love. Or maybe you're finally going to hang that picture or that mirror in the dining room. A hammer is a good tool for all of those jobs, but none of those jobs are actually related to one another. So the student is going to use their card for their meal plans. They're going to use their card for door access. They're going to use their card for library borrowing privileges, athletic events, other student activities. All of printing, laundry, all of those things are the right tool. The card is the right tool, but none of those things necessarily are interrelated. So if your student is having great success with the meal plan, but it's not working in door access, or it didn't work at the student activities office the way they thought it should, but it's doing just fine at the library, we're the people to contact. While I might personally not be able to touch that database and fix the problem, then add it long enough to know what questions to ask the student, how to pull that information, and to reach out to the people who can fix the challenge and make it start working for your student. We can be reached in our office, which is right downstairs here in the Harper Center. They can visit us online. We can be reached by email, phone. There's all kinds of ways to reach us. Some of that information is on the back of their card. Some of that information is on this card. They can always find it on the website. On the back of this flyer, the top website is our general information website. The middle website is where your student can review their transactions, whether they're dining transactions, J-Bucks transactions, Dining Dollars transactions. The bottom one is where you can log in and make a J-Bucks deposit if you would like to. One of the questions was, what is J-Bucks? J-Bucks is a stored value account, much like the Dining Dollars account, that is meant to replace cash on campus. So when your student wants to swipe their card to do their laundry, they don't need quarters. When they want to swipe their card to buy a candy bar in the candy machine, they don't need quarters or dimes or nickels. So that's what the J-Bucks program is for. The average student will go through anywhere from $4 to maybe $10 a week in their J-Bucks program. All of the points of sale are set up to favor your student first. So if your student is in a dining application, they're in the dining venue, say Java J's, they swipe their card and it's going to take their Dining Dollars first because they lose those at the end of the semester. Your student does not lose their J-Bucks. At the end of the semester or the end of the academic year, it just stays there idle, waiting for them to return and do their next transaction. Whether that's next day, next month, next academic year, whatever the case may be. There are no fees associated with the J-Bucks program, so if your student graduates with $25 or more, we're happy to give them a full refund. If there's less than $25, we just ask that they spend it before they leave campus. And since commencement announcements have to be paid for, I do very few refunds. Very few refunds. I'm going to put on my mail services hat here real quick. When room assignments go out in July, your students will also be given their mailing address as well as their mailbox combination. Most of the mailboxes on campus for students are a combination, and they're reset every year. We're happy if they forget their combination, we're happy to give that to them. All they have to do is email mailservices@creighton.edu from their Creighton email account, and we'll happily return that to them in the email. You can start mailing packages or boxes to your student 2 weeks in advance of move-in. There will be a few guidelines in the letter that we hope you'll be able to live with based upon size and number and things like that. We try to keep it right around 70 pounds per box. Make it a little bit more manageable for us. The mail rooms will be open on the day of move-in. Depending on what the move-in day is for your student, they're open either on Saturday, and I think McGloin and first move-in is on Sunday, so I think the mailroom is open. But we're there to help you. So just do me that one little quick favor and double check your student, make sure they get their Creighton ID. We'll be printing these through the afternoon and evening. We'll have them at the information fair. We will be giving them away with U.S. Bank keychains, because we don't want your student to punch a hole in their card. There is a computer chip in the card that opens all of our door readers on campus. If they punch a hole in their card, they could nick the antenna or the chip itself, and then it would not function.
So my name is Katie Breedlove. I work in Housing and Auxiliary Services, which we work behind the scenes to help make the on-campus living environment a really great one for your students. You're going to hear more from us tomorrow. There's a joint session with you and your students tomorrow morning at 9:45. You're going to hear from some of my colleagues in residential life. They help build the community there. And then also you're going to hear from Danny Steiner, who works for me as our housing assignments coordinator in housing, and we work together with some of those logistic things. So a lot of the things we cover tomorrow are, it's good to hear together. Things to bring, things not to bring, policies, some of the things about roommates. So I just wanted to cover some odds and ends that parents might be thinking about or families might be concerned about, whereas students aren't thinking that way. So I'm just going to hit a couple topics that might be interesting to you. Knowing that families tend to be the planners, I have some important dates for you. So move-in is Saturday, August 18th at 8 a.m. Some of you will be coming from quite a distance. Usually those who are traveling over 250 miles from Omaha are approved for a Friday evening move-in. That move-in date will be communicated along with your housing assignment. You're also welcome to talk to admissions or to call our office to clarify what your move-in date will be. Our halls stay open all the way through December, so through fall break and through Thanksgiving, our halls are open. We close on December 15th, that's a Saturday at noon. We then reopen following the Christmas holidays on Saturday, January 12th at noon. We stay open through the entire spring semester and close again on Saturday, May 11th at noon. So Saturday at noon is your key date to think about. This is when the hall closes, not necessarily when your student is going to be ready to come or go. Especially during finals week, they may be done on Tuesday and Wednesday and ready to go home on Thursday. But because it's important for our staff to get a break and a holiday as well, we do close the halls on those Saturdays at noon or reopen on Saturdays at noon. We know our families frequently have questions about billing, so Housing and Auxiliary Services works to create the bill and then send it to your student account. We do that at the beginning of every semester. So if you're an authorized user on that student billing account, you'll be able to log in and see and look at that. If you have any questions about it, if it looks wrong, if maybe you got double billed or it just doesn't look right, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We know that the housing and dining piece is an additional investment in your students' experience here, and we want to make sure that it's not more of an investment than you thought it would be. And a couple options for families. These are, again, no obligation, but every family is different, so we want to provide some options that might be good fit for you all. Linens. If you're traveling from a distance, you should have received a mailer from On-Campus Marketing with bed sheets, towels, blankets, rugs, different options for your student to purchase. If you choose to go through that program, the items will be shipped directly to their hall here on campus and placed in their room. So when you arrive on move-in weekend, they'll be waiting for you. There's no obligation to do that. It's certainly just determines if it's a good fit for you and your family. Some students are more concerned about the aesthetic look, so there are some cute options. Some students may just shrug and say, I don't know, like blue is fine. There's definitely some more basic options if that's what you're looking for. But just something to consider if that's something you'd like. We're also starting a new program this year called our micro fridge rental program. A micro fridge is essentially a mini fridge with a microwave bolted on top of it. So it's one unit. It's a rental program where the unit will be dropped off in their room before they arrive. It's ready and waiting for you, and then it'll be picked up after they move out. So while we know Welcome Week helps move everything in, your families are responsible for moving everything out. And so one less heavy item that you have to take with you can be a plus. Also, most of our sophomore housing has refrigerators provided, so they really don't need one after their first year. The units are about $175, which is an equivalent to the purchase price of an equivalent unit. So a refrigerator of that size, they're the bigger ones, not the little blocks, so they're the larger units, and a microwave of that size would total about $175. So you're not necessarily saving money, you're saving in convenience. It's up to your family to decide if that's worth it to you or not. Renter's insurance is not a glamorous thing, but something we encourage every family to think about. Renter's insurance covers a student in a case of lost, stolen, or damaged property. Students don't lock their doors as much as they should. They'll often drop their backpack and then just go to class. And that $1,000 MacBook that you just purchased for them might walk away. Renter's insurance would cover that option. Additionally, accidents sometimes happen as pipes sometimes break, toilets overflow in homes. The same things sometimes happen on campus, and accidental damage is also covered under renter's insurance. So you can talk with your current insurance provider about what options you have. There's also companies that specialize in insurance for students that live on campus. So while we don't recommend any one or another, it's what's good for your family. There's companies out there that you can investigate to see what a good overall rate would be and good low deductible so that you can meet your needs there. And one of the other ones is maintenance tickets. We often get calls from parents who are frustrated that repairs haven't been made in their student's room, and then we go and check our system and find out they had never reported that issue. So our 24-hour front desks take maintenance requests. The desk receptionist will put that in and send it directly to facilities, who usually responds within 1 to 2 business days, depending on the urgency of the request. So leaky faucets and things like that are prioritized over light bulbs. Anytime something's overflowing or there's life-inhibiting things, there's toilet problems or things like that, we do have emergency facilities who can come out and address the issue if it's going to inhibit their quality of life in the short term. So please encourage your student to tell us. We definitely want to make sure that things are fixed and that these places are comfortable places for them to live, even if it doesn't seem like not a big deal. Common ones that never get fixed are ladders. So each student, when you arrive in August, will go ahead and have the beds lofted. Most students choose to do that, so we do it for you. So you're going to walk in and they're about eye level. They'll include a ladder and also a guardrail, which seems silly, but you would be amazed by the number of students that roll out of bed every year. It's more than one hand. It's more than one hand. And so this guardrail is going to help at least slow them down depending on their roll. And often they'll say, oh, it was broken, so I haven't been using it, and then they roll out of bed. So we would really encourage you, even if it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, let us know so we can address that issue as soon as possible. So those are some odds and ends here. Another question that's a hot topic right now and on the mind of your student is likely their roommate. Some of them may have it all figured out, some of them may not. Some of them may be very anxious about this roommate process. So we have an online portal. It's a little bit similar to Match.com. It allows students to log in, to search for other people, to send messages, and to make connections. Whether they met this person who's going to be their roommate when they were 2 years old or they met that person this morning, the process is the same. They need to log into this portal, send a request, and then it's a mutual match process. So not only do you have to send a request, you have to accept a request. Action is required on both parts of both students so that we know it's a mutual agreement and they are both agreeing to this living situation. They're able to do this until June 20th. Which covers all of our summer preview sessions and gives us a couple weeks as well as a buffer day or two because we know some students are going to miss that deadline and call us frantically saying, I forgot. So I have until June 20th to make this recommendation. These are search tools to ease that adjustment. That Saturday move-in when you walk into the room for the first time and maybe that's the first time they're meeting their roommate. That can be very stressful for some students. So the ability to identify a person ahead of time, whether it's as simple as now I follow my roommate on Instagram or that I've been able to meet my roommate and have an in-person conversation over lunch, those are some tools. It just helps ease that process. Not everybody does this. About half of our students identify their own roommate. About half allow themselves to be assigned a computer-generated roommate. So there's not a right or wrong way to do it, especially if your student is saying, I'm the only one that doesn't have a roommate. Like everybody else figured it out. I'm all alone. As of this morning, we only had about 400, maybe 450 students who'd completed a roommate match online. So of an incoming class of just under 1,200, they're by far not behind the curve if they don't have a roommate yet. There's still a lot of people who don't. So there are these online tools. There's some other tools available to ease this transition. You can talk about, I'm glad that we both like the same sports teams, and I'm glad that we, are from the same area, and I'm glad that we both wake up at the same time. But keys to an important roommate relationship are more than just those things. It's communication, honesty, having clear expectations, being kind with this other person, and offering grace as you learn to live together. Part of what we believe in is this roommate situation. It's part of personal growth and development. Many of you may have had a roommate while you were young or may have had the same roommate for 20 years now and have learned a lot from that relationship, have grown a lot, and have really valued those experiences. So we encourage you to tell your own stories to your students. Talk to them about when you were young or even last week and the way that you've made your roommate relationships work in your life and how that they can learn from them. They tend to take it from family who they see successful and happy, sometimes more than me, that I'm saying, it'll be fine, you'll work it out. A parent or an uncle or a cousin or someone else who's had that relationship can really help ease some of that stress and concern about that roommate situation. And then parents also want to know what happens if it's just not working out. And so we do have a room change process. Part of what I mentioned before, this roommate relationship is about personal growth and development. That's what we want to continue to do even through this room change process, right? We want them to develop personal awareness, the ability to advocate for themselves, and importantly, to have a difficult conversation with kindness and work through some conflict resolution skills. Those are sometimes hard, but difficult, and they're an important part of being an adult. So if we have steps for a room change, it's going to start with a meeting with a hall staff member, either their resident director or their RA, who's going to kind of talk them through what this process is and kind of what's going on. Even before that, we encourage you all and encourage the students, just address it with the roommate directly. We often ask, well, these things are really bothering you. Have you talked to them about it? And they say, oh, no, I don't think I want to do that. Or they're going to say, well, I sent them a text, but nothing changed. There's a lot of power in a sit-down conversation, especially with our students that are so digitally connected, to sit down and look someone in the eyes and say, you know, I'm really struggling. Can we really talk about this? It's really bothering me. That goes a long way with students, and while that can be difficult, it makes a big difference if they're really having a problem to talk about it with their roommate. So they're going to meet with their hall staff, they're going to talk with their roommate. If they aren't comfortable doing it alone, we do have a mediation conversation where we can guide that with a trained staff member to make sure both students feel heard, both students feel represented, and they can kind of talk through some of the issues that are bothering them. And then the hardest part is we have a waiting period because behavior doesn't change overnight. It takes a couple of days for patterns to change and for those things to take effect. So we're going to ask them to wait a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, to see if the effects of this conversation take hold. And if after that it's not working, we can work through a move and talk about available options. We do have, again, one of our very largest first-year classes. We're going to be very, very full. And so this important process about room changes is we might not have a lot of empty spaces for them to move to. And so while, of course, we're going to work with them to figure out the best solution, sometimes being able to hash things out and work with a roommate is a better solution than the other options we have. And then we get a lot of calls from parents or families who are frustrated because they feel like their students aren't being heard and their concerns aren't being heard, and that's never what we want. We always want to make sure that your family or your student feels that way, and especially that both students feel that way. There's always two sides to every story, and so as much frustration and angst may be on one side, there may be similar on the other side. So part of our job as the professional staff here is to kind of wade through that and make sure that both students in a situation feel safe, they feel heard, they feel cared for, and they feel like they're being treated equally, especially if their roommate is frustrated with their relationship. So those are some of the basics about room changes. We'll hear a little bit more tomorrow about kind of the policies and procedures and things like that that go along with these. But I just wanted to give some parent perspective about sometimes it takes a little longer than you think it should, and sometimes it's a little harder than you think it should, and that's because we're trying to get a student to grow through the process and not just always take the easy way out. That's often what they want. I just want to move, or I just want my roommate out of my room. And that does sound like a great option, and that might be the final decision that we make through, but we want to work through a little bit of growth before we hit that place.